Hey guys, what's going on? It's 2 minutes to review. It's Matt.
And it's Zach.
If you haven't joined us for one of these before, this is our album review show. Longest album review in under 2 minutes wins. You click the picture. I hope you're not wearing white because you are going to walk away a bloodied mess after this.
As much as I love the reference, I really am curious how that would be possible. Like, are we insinuating that Gwar fans just do it to themselves in their own private homes? Which is such an awkward image. Like, it's already awkward, just the act of what. But then to involve blood by yourself?
That went dark.
Well, it is Gwar after all.
Let's get back on track. It's the latest album.
I think we're right. I think we're right on track. If we're talking about a band like Gwar, of course we're going to talk about being by yourself and ejaculating spew and blood. It's only fitting, damn it.
And right off the top, the first time I ever saw Gwar, I completely forgot they were on the bill because it was in one of those big festivals, and I happened to
wore all white.
I happened to wear a white shirt.
Oh, did you? Oh, that was.
I wore a white shirt. I don't remember. It was one of the many. Not actually. Wasn't one of the many. It was one of the few festivals that they held actually in the parking lot of Starland Ballroom, which was kind of weird.
Underground? Sound of the Underground? That sounds right. That festival kind of helped rejuvenate them among metal fans. Maybe not 2005, but like early 2000s.
Many moon ago.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Gwar a bunch of times too. I mean, it's literally, you know what you're going to get with Gwar. They are just the most vulgar, insane stage band. I mean, they make all of your shock rock heroes blush with their stage antics. And I consider myself very lucky that I've gotten to see Gwar live twice with Odorous before he passed away, the almighty Odorous. But then I also got to see Gwar's first show without Odorous 5 months after he passed away, or roughly 5 months. They held their annual barbecue out in Virginia. The first day was a Viking funeral for Odorous, and it was really emotional and touching. You could tell everyone was still hurt from it. And then the following day, Gwar performed their first show where it was the debut of Blothar as their new frontman, and it was actually kind of special because you can tell that the band was still struggling with the fact that Odorous wasn't on stage. And for a band that is so theatrical and keeps a nice shade up between reality and what's on stage, to see a human aspect amongst the monsters from another dimension was kind of special. Long story short, we've followed the band for many, many, many years, and here we are with their new album, The New Dark Ages. And what's kind of cool about this is that it's actually a companion piece to a graphic novel that they're releasing called Gwar in the Duoverse of Absurdity. What a great name. That should have been the name of the album. And the whole theme of the novel is that the band gets sucked into an alternative universe and they have to fight their evil twins and technology. I mean, if you're a Gwar fan, it sounds right up your alley. So this is the companion piece to their graphic novel, and first on their own label, first proper album, because I know they released an acoustic album, and I'm sure they've done some demos in the past before they were with Metal Blade and some other labels. But we just figured, you know what? Gwar is such a fun band that we wanted to give this album a spin. But before we share our 2 cents within 2 minutes, see, Matt, I promised you I was going to make it a slogan.
Yeah.
We want to give a special shout out to Lucky 13 Beard Co.
So after you get all the blood and semen and everything out of your beard, you're going to want to make it feel smooth, and you're going to want to smell good as well. So the guys over at Lucky 13, well, they have come up with, I think, one of the finest beard oils and balms that I've ever tried. I've tried a lot in the past because I've got a really rough beard, and everything they said they do, they actually do. So we teamed up with them when we came up with our own beard oil, the Lemmy. It smells just like everything that Lemmy embodied: bourbon, cola, tobacco, leather, and dare I say, it's probably one of the best smelling beard oils that I've ever smelled. And I've gone through a lot of them. Some of them feel great, but they don't smell so hot. And then other ones smell really good, but they don't, live up to the promises of making you feel smooth. So these guys hit the nail on the head: the smell, the feel. And now we're going to give you a chance to get 10% off of your first order. And if you've never tried a beard balm or an oil before, this is going to be the perfect chance for you to get in on it. So head on over to the website, Lucky13, the number, beardco.com. Go onto the product page, click on the Lemmy. It's the very first thing on the page. Put it in your cart. Use the code EFP10 at checkout. You're going to get 10% off of your order. Whatever's in that cart, 10% off. EFP10 at checkout. Lucky13, the number, beardco.com.
And dare I say, this beard oil would be fine enough even for Beefcake the Mighty. Not so much for Ballsack the Jaw. He's famously clean-faced. Little fact.
This is the most ridiculous we've ever sounded.
Is it though? It actually, not by much, oddly enough. Well, you want to be really shocked, Matt?
You want to go first?
No, I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, wow. You want me to go first this time?
I am being a gentleman and letting you go first.
For the most ungentlemanly of creatures in all of the universe, you're being a gentleman.
In honor of Gwar fighting their evil twins, I figured let's go with the theme of alternate universes and let you go first. So with that said, let me know when you're ready.
All right, count me in.
3, 2, 1, go.
So it's Gwar. You know what you're pretty much going to get. I mean, I can say a million and one things about this album, but if you're I'll say this about the album. If you're looking for something that clearly derives from the old school books of metal and punk rock, this new Gwar album is going to be something you want to check out because, well, you may say they've always kind of sounded this way, but in comparison to the Blood of Gods, this album sounds like it's been professionally recorded, and it's not gear that's been used since like 1979 and old school recording methods. I mean, it sounds really cool from like, old school Misfits, Black Flag, maybe some classic Dio thrown in there, Sabbath on tracks like Bored to Death, Berserker Mode, Unto the Breach, and The Cutter, which is honestly one of my favorites from this album. I mean, they're very old school in their sounds. And then Ratcatcher actually has a ghost type vibe to it, which was kind of interesting to hear coming from Gwar. And I'll say this, while I do sometimes not like when we get into like the sillier lyrics or the shock just for shock type lyrics, I'm glad they almost kind of kept it on the minimum side for Gwar. So if you're going to try to get into Gwar, I'm going to say this isn't necessarily the worst album to try to get into them on. While it's definitely not classic Gwar, I think for the new Gwar, this is probably going to be one of the better places you can get into them on.
Time is locked in. Out of 5 stars, what would you give the new Dark Ages?
I'll give it a 3.
A 3?
Yeah, a 3. It's, like I said, it's Gwar. You have to kind of temper your expectations. It's not like, everybody's going to be, like everybody and their mother is ultra critical of when like some of the biggest bands come out with a new album like Iron Maiden, Metallica. Everybody's going to hone in on, well, what's the production like? What are the lyrics like? What did they do here? What did they do there? Is there any little things that you can nitpick here and there to try to, put a chink in the armor of, those big mighty bands? But when you're talking about a band like Gwar, I mean, look at their stage presence and look at their albums. Look at what they're singing about. I don't necessarily think that you can put the musical releases on the same level. So you know what you're going to get. If you're Gwar and you're a Gwar fan, you expect certain things to come with the band. And then with this being a companion piece to a graphic novel, I mean, I've said this on plenty of other reviews about, bands that do concept albums that I really can't get into them because you're trying to stay around a centralized piece that the story has to back. And I think they actually did a pretty good job of making me not realize that this is a companion piece. It's not like everything kind of flows into each other or things kind of are in a weird storytelling mode where it's hard to explain, but it's like the songs are crafted in such a way where they're a storytelling piece instead of, just a standalone song. Granted, the last track on here is a 10-minute plus instrumental, but I mean, outside of that, I don't think there's really much on here that's concept album-ish. I will say that I appreciate Gwar, and I've listened to Gwar throughout the years. But is it the first band that I reach for? No. Is it going to be one of the first bands that I reach for? No. Are there going to be some songs on here that might make a playlist? Absolutely.
Then, with that said, let me get in on this fun. Count me
All
down.
right. 3, 2, 1, go.
I know I shouldn't expect all that much from Gwar, but admittedly, I'll just get right to it. I felt like I was missing something here. There's definitely some songs like The Cutter, Bored to Death, and Venom of the Platypus that has that classic metal era of Gwar feel to it, with a little bit of Priest thrown into it, even a little bit of sleazy punk vibes to it. So, if you're a Gwar fan, you're going to enjoy that. And even songs like Starving Gods and Completely Fucked. There's even a splash of White Zombie thrown in there. And if you're a fan of the early Gwar days before they got really thrown into the metal world, you'll probably enjoy those too. But the overall problem I have here is that I just don't feel any bite with this album. I don't feel any I just feel like there's a lot of, I don't want to say the word fluff, because the guitar work is phenomenal on this album, and it really is nice, and the production's pretty good, but it just feels like it doesn't have the edge or the grit or the strength that some of Gwar's past albums have. I mean, I think Odorous' last album with them, Battle of Maximus, really, to me, best captured Gwar. And this one, I just feel like at times Gwar feels lost, like as if they don't know what they want to sound like. I mean, you got a song like Onto the Breach that sounds like a Fudgy Sludge song that goes on for too long. And then a song like Ratcatcher that is the most bland out, that sounds like the most bland Alice Cooper band cover. And I love Alice Cooper. It's just, dare I say, for a band that is known for being fun and vulgar, maybe sometimes too much, I feel like I was listening to a band taking itself too seriously. And for a band like Gwar, that might be the ultimate sin.
Okay. Got a time and star rating.
I'm going to give, I wish I could give it a 3, but I'm leaning towards more of a 2.5. To me, it was a struggle to listen to this album more than once. And I say that with so much love for Gwar. And it's just, if I go back to my point, it felt like Gwar, you even mentioned how it was the vulgarness for the sake of vulgarness was toned down a little bit here. And normally that's not a bad thing, but for Gwar, I'm like, no. I need that vulgarness. I need that in your face, larger than life monsters playing heavy ass shit. And I just didn't get that here. It's almost, and this was my problem with their last album too, is that they went backwards and cared more about trying to be a rock band than they did trying to sound like the biggest metal band in the world. And it was lacking the bite for me. So it pains me to say, but I think I'm going to go with 2.5.
Mm-hmm. For me, I like lyrics like when you can craft a good lyric without being stupid about it. And I feel like you and I are on different pages when it comes to that. Like I want them to be maybe, yeah, you can say the things that you're trying to say, just don't be stupid when you're saying it, because it completely just takes me out of the song because it's said very stupidly. I mean, that's the
Well, you know
only way
what?
that I can really say it.
I don't necessarily want my lyrics to be stupid for the sake of stupid, but I will argue that for a band like Gwar, that gives them a little bit of fire. I feel like, and to me, this just felt like I didn't feel like I was listening to Gwar. Sure, Gwar fans are gonna be like, oh, that kind of sounds like Gwar. I didn't feel as though, I felt like I was listening to a separate metal band completely. It felt like they just weren't focused. Because at least with like the insane vulgarness of their lyrics, at least you can tell they were putting some thought into it. And to me, this just felt like a thoughtless album, which I hate
Which
even
is
saying
saying a
out loud.
lot. It's saying a lot because considering that and that they have a graphic novel that goes behind
And I was
it.
about to say that. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I was listening to Gwar. I felt like Gwar was trying to be too serious when they should be goofy. It should be larger than life. I should feel like I'm listening to a comic book, and I didn't. I felt like I was listening to just some average metal band. God, I hate saying that out loud, but it pains me to admit that. But I think that's ultimately what it comes down to.
That's fair enough.
So, but you know what? Our puny mortal opinions of the mighty gods of Gwar don't mean crap. What really matters is the times. So, Matt, since you went first, I'll tell you. Your time was 1 minute and 35 seconds. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
And what was my time? Mortal, Matt.
You, sir, came in just over the 2-minute mark. 2 minutes and 1 second.
Are you kidding me? Just by 1 second.
Nope.
Darn it. Well,
so your one victory was very short-lived.
I'll be a glorious comeback, just like the mighty Gwar. But you know what? Let us know what you think. Do you agree with our thoughts on the new Dark Ages? Or are we just stupid humans who can't understand great music from Gwar when it's thrown in our faces? Tell us what you think on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Epic Footnote. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel to hear more reviews like this, as well as some other really cool episodes and maybe even a few cool videos. And once again, thank you to Lucky 13 Beard Co. Go to lucky13beardco.com. Again, use the code EFP10. Get 10% off of your orders of great beard oils, including our very own Lemmy-inspired beard oil that I bet you Beefcake the Mighty will love himself. I'm going to guarantee that he'd love it out of all the members of Gwar. But again, lucky13beardco.com, EFP10. Get yourself 10% off of beard oils. Also, thank you to Rootless Coffee, based out of Flint, Michigan. They produce coffee that is literally breaking free from boredom. Delicious tasting coffee. And not only do they produce their own blends, but they actually work with a wide range of people, everyone from local nonprofits to podcast hosts to comic book writers to even wrestlers like the almighty Don Hosson from AEW. Go to rootlesscoffee.com. Use the code EPICROAST, all caps. Get 15% off of your order on some delicious blends of coffee. Thank you guys for listening, and we hope you join us for another episode real soon if we survive Gwar's forthcoming attack on us. Because let's be real, they're going to be very angry at us, Matt. We should probably hide from Gwar.